Some claim that the age of a true gentleman is far behind us, but here at 284 Media, we disagree. He may appear in different guises today, but the values and ideals that make him a gentleman still and will always stand. Gentlemen, aspiring gentlemen, and of course, our partners that hold us down. I'm Ron Grant. Welcome to a brand new season of The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, a show poised to help guide modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen. Don't worry, it doesn't always involve suits and bow ties, but raw, real-life lessons that truly translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men. Thank you all for taking this journey with me. As promised, this season we take you on an entirely different journey, heading across the territory to highlight some of the best and brightest in a variety of industries. One of the things that's extremely important, our Virgin Islands gentlemen are doing extremely well, and I am absolutely proud of them. Talent isn't something you can buy. You either have it or you don't. It's God-given, and that's the best part about it, because no one can take it away. Producer, talented musician and singer, my guest today embraces the talents of others while seeking to skillfully assist them in presenting their gifts to the world. A father, husband, son, one of the territory's leading professionals. Beatlink Productions and Law Construction are the names, and his work is easily recognizable because it's simply done well. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me is the man himself, Mr. Lincoln Ward, by far one of the most talented, and I mean absolutely talented human beings to ever walk this earth. We should be absolutely proud and truly blessed to have him with us, a true 21st century distinguished gentleman. When we return, he takes us on a personal tour of his journey thus far. We talk success, switching gears, and the innovation it takes to win. All this and so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman. Let's do it. Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works. Viewers, welcome back. As promised, I am here with the man himself, Lincoln Ward. Thank you so much for your time and welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me, man.
Mr. Soaking Wet himself. Ladies and gentlemen, I had to get that out.
Yes.
Soaking Wet, the single, was by far one of your most successful singles within the music industry. And you have done and accomplished so much from then until now. A musician, a lover of multiple instruments, a student of music, not only as an adult, but this was engraved in you from a very young age, from your mom, throughout school. And you have been able to now pass this on to the younger generation with Beatlink's production. We have a lot to talk about, but I want to talk about the transition.
Okay.
You made quite a switch in teaching for a number of years,
Yes.
and then switching careers. How did that come about?
Teaching and construction, in some ways they intertwine throughout my life. I would have started in high school, doing electrical, architecture. I was amongst the first class that did industrial tech.
Okay.
At that point in time, I was really interested in, both music and engineering. So my focus really was to study engineering, but my love for music kept my heartstrings. Into university, I opted to study computer science. And funny enough, I told my classmates, I said, I bet you when I go back home, I'm going to teach music.
Interesting. So you already knew? I
already knew. So, because at that time, I had a dual major of music and engineering. So, as I came back, I applied for a job, computer science, and I applied for music. I got through with music, no questions asked. So I started at the music department at Mostar High School. I stayed there for about 12 years. And during that time, I initially started dabbling into construction when I built my home in 2011. So my dad and I, we were really, back and forth. You know, him more on the construction side, me on the project management side, and that really gave me a introduction to construction.
Okay.
Him being a woodworker and electrician, I said to him that, you know, I want you to do this project.
Correct.
With me. So we spent that time and we honed certain skills. I learned so much. And as that project came to an end in 2013, 2014, I started reflecting on my life and what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
At that point in time, I got married in 2014 and I started feeling a bit strange in terms of feeling like there was something missing. You know, not enjoying the job as much as I once did, and you know, being so engulfed with music. I taught during the day. I taught piano in the afternoons, and I went to the studio at night. So it was just a full day of music, and I was like, I need a break of this at some point. So I opted to study and go to the college and take the safer building classes. Did both of them, and after that, I actually went on to do the electrical course,
okay,
so I could get my electrical license as well. So in 2016, I completed all of those things and applied for my trade license. And OMA came in 2017, and we had the opportunity to leave the country in 2018. My wife and I, and for about 3 to 4 months. And at that time, I think it was a no-brainer. This is the time to help rebuild the country. This is a time where I have to leave the country at some point. Mm-hmm. So I took that as the opportune time to make the switch. And since then, I must say, you know, we both have had quite a bit of real estate love over the years.
Real estate fever, yeah.
And, you know, we own a rental property at home, and we opted to start working on another property in that same year. So it gave us quite a bit of a shift where I could display my other set of creative skills in that switch.
I want to talk about that switch because so many times as professionals, we get stuck in an industry, and persons, rightfully so, have been working in an industry for X amount of years, and for many of us, they feel as though that's the only thing that you can do. What's remarkable about your story is the switch, exactly that, and the transition, the innovation to not giving up or cutting off one industry, but really transitioning. And I think, if I'm correct, Irma perhaps was that transition point that allowed you to, you know, tunnel vision and really zone in on what was most important, but then allowing you to broaden your horizons.
Correct.
And I think it's absolutely amazing because as professionals, I would encourage any young professional, any distinguished gentleman up and coming, to be able to not only be innovative, but to know when you need to move with the tide and know when you need to switch up. And I think your story is exactly that.
Definitely that. You know, I had my moments where I didn't enjoy what I did. I went to school, and you know, I love my kids, but it, you know, there was that something that wasn't there, you know, and for some reason, at some point, you know, you look to the future of your life and you say, well, what do I want to leave? What impact do I want to have? And at that point, I felt like there wasn't enough for me to stay.
Okay.
And ultimately, I felt like there was more for me to accomplish in a different path. And ultimately, I think the construction industry, it was booming at the time, and it definitely needed some infusion. I think part of what I was attracted to in the construction business was, you know, I had so many stories of persons who had so many different issues with contractors, integrity, honesty, and all of these different things. And I found that I enjoyed the process for myself. And I wanted to be able to lend that to other persons, to let them know that it doesn't have to be like this.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be messy. It doesn't have to be dramatic, stressful. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, I take the approach to any client that I work with that, you know, I want to allow the best and have the best for you. As if you are, you know, I'm a homeowner, and I want the same for you. And I would like for whatever it is that you go through a stress-free process. That is my job. And too often we have dishonest persons take the helm on certain jobs, and it creates a very difficult outlook on the industry in itself.
It is absolutely true, and that is something that I think perhaps in doing business and persons, I would encourage them to do their research. It is
Very
imperative that when going into a business, as in building a home, it should be a contractual agreement. Many persons go into stuff like that just giving money, and I think in support of having that wholesome, healthy relationship when it comes to the construction industry, I think that's of huge support.
Yes.
You have not segued all the way at all from music, and you can't.
No, I can't.
Because it is who you are. Beatlink's production. Tell us about Beatlink's.
Beatlink Productions would have started in 2008.
Okay.
I ultimately took a sabbatical from teaching for about 2 years at the height of my success during Soaking Wet, because that would have gone to #1 in 2007. I took a bit of a sabbatical for 2 years, and ultimately I recognized that there was a serious need for quality production. For myself, I invested heavily in my own equipment, but at the time I only recorded myself.
Okay.
And during that period of time, as I said, at the height of my success, I had a lot of persons reach out to me asking about, I want to sound like you. I want the vocal production like you. Like, do you record persons? And at the time I didn't. And that opened up a whole new door to what the other side of music for me. I always produce my own beats. I always work towards, helping other artists and what's not. And,
which I really love and appreciate.
Definitely.
The support for other talent.
Yeah, I definitely went from a bedroom studio to having my own studio in my own space and what's not, and working with hundreds of artists over the years. And ultimately, that has now transitioned from the music studio, and we have expanded somewhat to the musical experience, the learning center.
Beautiful.
Which is now Beatlink Music Studio.
Love it.
So we have both locations where we are taking the helm from where my mom would have left off. She would have had Lines and Spaces Music School for some 30 years, where I was the co-assistant director for a number of years. Due to COVID and other things, she said, look, this is time for me to step away. And ultimately I said, okay, this legacy I have to pass, I have to continue. So in January, we opened that branch in Road Town, which is now I wouldn't say the main focus, but I'm trying to build that off the ground now to get new students, back into the groove of loving music and having the experience of what music is, more than just the school life of doing music.
When you look at our culture, not just locally alone, but regionally as well, we come from very diverse cultures across the region. How important is music? And when I say music, I mean the love of music and the understanding of music.
Music, I would say to anyone, throughout my years, music is one of the few arts, a few things in general that spans your left and your right brain. When we look back at the days of, our band days in high school and what's not, and we took a survey of the Val and Sal for a period of time, and almost always
music students.
There were always music students. At least the top 10 students, there was always a majority of music students.
Agreed.
So we said that couldn't be a coincidence.
No.
And as we continue on through different things, different industries, we found that music was not just what we did as a profession, but many persons in the top of their careers were also musicians, and they did it for the love of it. It was part of their everyday, something that they couldn't, get away from. And ultimately, I do think the importance of, we may not understand the importance of the arts. I can't say just music alone, but the arts. But those creative abilities lend to other areas of our life. And we have to be able to tie them, marry them, to be able to have a fulfilling, holistic life, I
I
think.
absolutely agree and appreciate that, because too often persons, creatives, talented people
Yes.
are sometimes forced to choose.
Yes,
And it
exactly.
shouldn't necessarily be an aspect of choosing. Being a creative is not an easy task, but in the final analysis, that lends itself to other opportunities. It lends
Agreed.
itself to other avenues where you as a professional are able to,
True.
really flourish and shine.
Exactly. Exactly.
I have to speak about the beauty and art that is marriage
Yes,
and a family and fatherhood.
definitely.
You and your wife, the lovely Chantel Flax Ward, are a partnership.
Yes.
I've seen it firsthand in just about all of your businesses and the way
Yes.
you operate. Speak to the importance of having that partnership and collaboration between the union in order to make and sustain legacy.
Chantal and I, we met through music. Funny enough, we met initially through what we call an interview, where someone, a family friend of both of us, they brought her to sing for me.
Okay.
As a potential artist
Got
for our then music group. And at that point in time, you know, there was no intention.
Yeah. I'm
At
sure.
that point in time. But ultimately, we have a strong connection in all of the things that we do. We both share the love of music. We both share the love of real estate. We both share the love of God. And, you know, through all the different things that we enter through, you know, we collaborate on everything. I would say she's my voice of reason and I'm her voice of risk.
Nice.
Where we literally, we have all mastermind discussions every week. We go through, you know, what businesses are we working on, what are we doing, or different 5-year goals or 10-year goals. And something I never really did before meeting her, where we were able to iron out, okay, these are the things we want for our life.
Okay.
These are the things we want to see, you know, for our families. These are the things we want to see for our community. And we constantly go back and forth on everything: business, life, family, God. And I would say, in terms of having a life partner, it's important to be able to not just have someone you love,
Yeah.
but also have someone you like, you enjoy being around in every aspect of your life.
Very important.
And I think that's, for us, it shows in everything that we do, because she is my cheerleader and I'm her cheerleader.
Beautiful.
You know, in her businesses, I'm there as if it's, well, my business is, if she, you know, same, she's there for me just as I'm there, you know. So we both support each other in everything that we do.
And you are a father.
Yes.
You both have been blessed with
Little
a
boy.
handsome
Yes.
young baby boy.
Yes.
Tell me about that journey for you.
That journey, for us, it was a bit difficult, starting in the COVID era.
It's a tough time to have a child.
Very much. But I think we have a strong support system, or both of our parents.
You're blessed to still
We are
have both of
blessed
them.
to still have them, and they really help us at this point in time to navigate all the things that we want to do and have him as a part of it. As a father, as a new father, I would say that it's a feeling you can't explain. You know, we were married for about 5 years before we knew that we were expecting.
Okay.
And by choice, we chose to take our time, enjoy each other, travel, do all the things that we wanted to do. And we ultimately chose when we would want to start the process.
Okay.
And he came in July 2020. a little blessing out of this world. He's now 14 months. And, my sisters make the joke and say, that's my little brother. Because I have three sisters. I don't have any brothers.
Got it.
So we roll together everywhere. You
Nice.
see me everywhere. He's my
Partner in crime.
my partner in crime, my road dog. I go to check out jobs. He's with me. We go for walks. We do everything together. So
Amazing.
he is literally my little brother / son.
Got you. And I've seen that
Yes.
that interaction and that relationship firsthand. Just randomly wherever you are,
He's
you
there.
see your son.
Yeah, he's
I want to speak, and I have to speak about the importance of that support group because we've seen where. In changing times, that family structure has somewhat changed. You and Chantel are blessed to have both of your parents with you. Likewise, with my wife and I believe that wholeheartedly. That is a lot of the family structure that we're lacking across our society.
Agree.
When you look at your son and you look at your dad, and the relationship, the awesome relationship that you guys have had, you see a projection. And I tell people all the time, there could be no way that is a coincidence. It is a skillful remembrance that is important to have like-minded, beautiful examples of fatherhood and men that you could look up to. I have to talk about your relationship with your dad and how that has transcended throughout your years as a young boy to now an adult, and you keeping him close.
Yes. Ultimately, I like that what you said there. My dad, being the only boy amongst three sisters, and the last child, my mom always made it clear, I don't want you in the house.
Okay.
Go with your father. So at the age of 7, I was in the shop, working on with him, whatever. He set up a little bed in the woodwork shop for me. And I would be with him all the time. We did work on a boat. We did work on, different cabinet
boat
jobs.
Which you still have.
Yes, we still have. And, I've always been there. And, she makes a joke and she said, I came at the right time because now that he's a bit older, he needs help doing certain things. And I'm the last child, so I'm able to be his strength where, he has all the visions and all the thoughts and, he thinks he has the strength to do everything. But, we still have quite a great relationship.
Beautiful.
And, he is literally the backbone on many of the things that I do in terms of construction. And I would say my love for everything that I do, I think, encompasses both my parents, my mom on the music side, my dad on the construction side. So we both collaborate on everything in that sense. And my son, as he's now coming into his own, he as well, I can see that there are a lot of similarities. He loves music, he loves drumming, he loves
beautiful
dancing, and there's so many things that I can see, even with my dad, that they go into the shop and he wants to do this and he wants to do that, and it's quite an amazing point where I'm so thankful that he's around to be there. You mentioned my dad, but as well as my grandfather. He was also a stonemason contractor, and in my younger years, I was blessed to have him in my life.
So again, we see the chain.
The chain.
Of
so
events.
yes, I would have been around different stuff with my granddad, and I was able to really be around him, not for a long time, because he passed, I think, when I was about 12 or 13.
Okay.
But, in terms of the relationship, there was quite a strong relationship between us. And we continue to hope that, that bond is maintained now with the little one moving forward.
What should we be paying more attention to as a society when it comes to our young men?
Our young men, I think there are a few things that we need to focus on with our young men. We have a shift in a position where, I think at this point in time, fatherhood has changed. There was a point in time where fatherhood wasn't as prevalent.
True.
And I do think that more young men are stepping up and wanting to be present, wanting to be there. I do think that there has to be the opportunity for young men to grow.
Yeah.
In many different things, because as a teacher over the years, I've seen young men who had great potential, somewhat fall to the wayside, not because they didn't have the potential, but society was such that it wasn't cool to be brave. It wasn't cool to be, bright. It wasn't cool to be creative or what's not. So I've seen some young men kind of dumb down their potential.
Yes.
To match what the society wants them to be. And I think ultimately we have to really push them. Recognize when someone is doing well and guide them, not just say, well, yeah, you could do this or you could do that. Even if it's, as you say, construction, I'm a testament that I have a college degree, but I'm in the construction field. I know how to lay blocks if I choose to, I know how to lay tiles. And there's nothing wrong with that. And we, as a generation, we have to find the things that we love and we enjoy and be able to guide our youth, not just to the popular things, but to the things that work for their
Absolutely.
abilities, their love, their passions. And ultimately, all young men, we have the capability to do a world of things if given the chance and the opportunity.
I appreciate that comment so much, and I have to share a story that I have perhaps shared before. But when I made the decision to go to school, there were for a few persons, but one in particular who just thought the idea of this TV thing just don't make no bloody sense. Find something else to do, Ron.
Yeah.
Like, they even said going to economics, you could do law, all this kind of stuff. And I was annoyed, I was peeved, I was insulted. Because in my mind, you're not going to tell me what the hell to do the rest of my life. That just doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
And I went to school and did exactly what I was encouraged not to. And what a village mumu I would have been.
Yes.
To go study somebody saying that I should do this when my love and passion has always been for telling stories.
Exactly.
And creating narratives. So we encourage you, up and coming gentlemen of our generation, of the Virgin Islands, to truly, absolutely follow your passion. It might not be the most popular, it might not be the most liked, but it is imperative that you follow your dream, no matter how hard it might be. Lincoln is an example. I am an example as well. If you want it bad enough, you can absolutely do it. Lincoln, I thank you so much for coming to the set.
Thank you. Thank you
and
for
sharing your
having me.
story. We appreciate you, and we appreciate the gift that is Lincoln Ward, and that you continue to share and embrace. Many persons, they're talented, but they hone on to that talent and they keep it. They see it as a competition. I've never gotten that impression with you throughout the production of music, and also now in the transition of teaching and really helping youngsters to come up with their talent and zone in on it. We appreciate you. We wish you all the best, and we thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being here.
My pleasure. Viewers, that's all the time we have. We will see you next week. You've been watching The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman.